Morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're out here in a field of spring wheat today. This week has been incredibly hot. We had a little bit of rain at the end, but it has kind of limited our ability to work outside. So 30-degree heat is not easy for anybody. So we've concentrated on cleaning our grain stores. Start with brushing them out first, then they'll get vacuumed, and then finally they'll get an insecticide treatment. So that's what we've been working on this week. And I thought just as we move towards harvest, we would do a quick review of how the crops are looking. You'll see a great field of oilseed rape that we've visited a couple of times so far. And this is a field of spring wheat. It's a variety called Lennox. It's grown for Warburton's bread specifically, and it's marketed through Open Fields, which is our farmer owned cooperative. So yeah, enjoy the farm tour. So this is one of the issues we have had this spring, is these barren patches, and as you can see we have some black grass growing in these emptier patches, and I've come to the conclusion this year that we need to treat our winter cover crops differently. That if the field has black grass in it, we need to spray it off early and generate a stale seed bed that doesn't suffer allelopathy. Whereas if it's got a strong cover crop and the field's microbial health looks good and strong, it's growing a good thick cover crop of target species, then we can let it go to all the way through to planting and plant in the green. So heavy weed burden, kill it off early, plant into the brown. So this is the field of beans we saw a couple of weeks ago, coming on nicely, nice and tall, spring beans, varieties Vertigo, and yeah, quite pleased with these. You'll see quite a contrast between these and the other beans planted later, which were planted into dry ground, whereas these were planted into a moist soil, and they've kept going, no growth check, whereas the other beans definitely suffered a growth check from the drought. So this is our field of spring beans close to the river. It's actually quite short. It was planted a lot later than the rest of the spring beans, but it's got these interesting patches in here. Now this group of plants here seem to be they are double what these ones are. And I can't really figure out what it is, but this field was drilled quite late. This was the last field of beans we drilled, and it definitely didn't get quite as much moisture. We are using it more as a pioneer species to help the breakdown of the grass swath. This is a long-term lay, and you can see by direct drilling we've managed to break up the grass swath without ploughing or disturbing the soil. So, and this was actually drilled with the sky. We had quite a lot of trouble with the swath blocking up the claydon. So I'm really encouraged by that. And you can see that although the plant is short, there's still a good 6 inches before the flowers, so we should be able to get the heather underneath it. And we've had quite a lot of rain recently, so reasonably sure we'll get a decent yield out of it. One thing we have noticed as we've walked through is just how many flowers are on these these beans, they're just stacked full of flowers. It's really encouraging. So this is the field of rape I've shown you before. We treated it for mealy aphid with a non-insecticide, just with that adjuvant. It is, we have also given it a shot this week of pod stick, but we haven't treated it with glyphosate yet. We will probably do that later this week. I was hoping that we could wait for a bit of rain to make the pods a bit more elastic, so that we could travel back through the crop without damaging it too much. So in a previous video we showed you the mealy aphid treatment. This is what's left, and we've got loads of beneficials here. It's worked, our plan has worked. Got a little ladybird here. Ladybirds. There are also lots of hoverflies, which are also another beneficial. So, and if we pick this one here, you'll see that these are the mealy aphids. Just trying to find it. Actually, most of them are dead. Mealy aphids, and there's lots of ladybirds here chomping away. So really encouraged. So this field is probably our lightest land. It's on a sandy vein. It is Graham winter wheat. It's a group 4 hard biscuit wheat, and it's quite clean really. It's had Avadex on with the Cunero at establishment, which I think certainly helped it stay clean. So more Graham again, and I'm not sure if you can see, but in the background there, over there somewhere, we have a pile of cow muck, and we've been composting that this week as well, so I'll include some pictures for you.
Just turning the muck which we carted out here probably 3 weeks ago. You see there's a fair bit of heat. This is tested at mid-70s temperature range. In far distance you've got the pile I turned yesterday, and then you've got today. Should only take an hour. It's probably 8 or 9 foot high, so it's certainly making the old turner work. Getting the full distance, and I'm currently cutting out some strings, so I guess it's a lesser of two evils and means I don't have to cut it out the spreader in the summer.